Welcome. I'm Raul Lowry Contreras. This is the Contreras Report, the political report for everything that's happened since 80 million people voted to reject Donald J. Trump and to replace him with President-to-be Joe Biden Jr. The election was November 3rd, 23 days after the election. Today, the President of the United States, who was wiped out in a landslide of over 150 million voters, has quit being president. Yes, he has hidden in the White House and refused to talk to the people he supposedly leads. Twice, he has stepped up to microphones and spoken a handful of words that are meaningless, politically and presidentially. He took no questions from the press. He is a coward. He tweets while thousands of Americans have died under his watch. Yesterday, took a few questions and argued with a reporter and called him a lightweight because he kept asking the president, would he concede? He hasn't conceded as of this moment. At this very minute, Trump hides in the White House telling his supporters on the phone that he won Pennsylvania by a lot, that he won the election by a lot, quote unquote. He didn't. He lied. He was handedly beaten by 4 times the margin he carried Pennsylvania by in 2016. He invites state legislators from Michigan and from Pennsylvania to the White House to try to convince them to cancel the millions of votes cast on November 3rd and to try and hijack Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes and Michigan's before they are cast for the winner on December 14th. The winner, Joe Biden. The Electoral College votes December 14th. 80 million people voted to end Donald Trump's presidency. That's it, Donald. Try acting like a president and a leader and be gracious about losing. Millions of Americans are out of work. That's on you, Mr. Trump. Millions of Americans are getting the only food they can get from food banks. That's on you, Mr. President. Millions more have voted against you than voted for you. That's on you. Now, Mr. President, Donald J. Trump, why are you conning your supporters by supposedly raising money for the phony legal fights led by Rudy Giuliani when the bulk of that money is to pay your campaign debt and to fund your own personal super PAC? Why are you lying to your own supporters and stealing their money? You're stealing from your own supporters. It says so in the fine print of your emails and on online ads. That makes you more than a con man, Donald. It makes you a thief. The only thing missing is your statement, quote, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this fundraising to retire my campaign debt, and it saves me money, saves me from spending my own money on January 21st when I will no longer be president of the United States, unquote. Yesterday, 2,000 Americans died from COVID-19. 2,000 died on the day before Thanksgiving. That's 2,000 in one day. What did President Trump say about 2,000 Americans dying in one day? In 2 days, more Americans died than at Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December, 1941, when Japanese planes attacked it and killed a lot of Americans. And more than died on September 11th, 2001 in New York, Washington, and D.C. And of course, let's not forget our friends on the airplane that crashed their plane into a field in Pennsylvania. He didn't mention them. What he did is to blow up at a Reuters reporter who kept asking him if he was going to attend the inauguration, if he was ever going to recognize his defeat by Joe Biden. He angrily told the veteran reporter to not treat the president like he was doing. What a moron Trump is. It's time to remind him that the only other president in history to not attend the inauguration of his successor was Andrew Johnson, who became president after President Lincoln was killed. Johnson refused to attend the inauguration of General Ulysses S. Grant in March of 1869. How fitting that it looks like Trump, also the only other one-term president who was impeached, to have been rejected by the people of the United States. Johnson and Trump, what a quinella. Trump is lucky I'm not asking him questions on network television. Really lucky. For example, Mr. Trump, will you please explain why you imported dozens of illegal aliens from Poland to tear down a building in New York City so you could build Trump Tower? I didn't make that up. That was found in a federal court. Or, Mr. Trump, can you explain why you settled charges filed against you by the Nixon Department of Justice of your personal discrimination against Hispanics and blacks by denying them apartments because they were Hispanic and black? This was all settled in the federal court. You were charged. You were the 29-year-old president appointed by your father who owned the company. You were the 29-year-old president of the company that was sued by the federal government. You paid millions of dollars. You claim you never settled lawsuits? Well, you certainly settled that one. Can you tell us how much in bribes you paid New Jersey officials to keep them from arresting you and your father for felonies of his purchasing millions of dollars in gambling chips at one of your casinos, one of your failing casinos, in order to inject working capital into the casino before it flopped, before you declared it bankrupt? Explain to us how it wasn't illegal for him to buy the chips, but it was illegal for not using them and cashing them in. In other words, he just pumped cash into your failing, bankrupt casino. Treat you with respect the presidency should have, Mr. Trump, which you demanded of that reporter? Surely you jest. Here is my newspaper column for this week, the last week of November, that fits in with this report. Title, It's Deja Vu All Over Again, by Raul Lowry Contreras. Yogi Berra, Baseball Hall of Famer, history-making player and manager, is more famous for things he said over the years than for his baseball career. Quote, "It's deja vu all over again," may be his best known. Laughingly, or sadly, it reflects what President Donald J. Trump is doing ever since voters rejected 4 more years of Trump. His landslide wipeout in electoral college votes, 306 to 232, with 270 needed to win the presidency per the Constitution, is exactly that, a Trump-defined landslide victory, quote unquote, landslide victory. Trump's landslide fantasy is that 306 electoral votes is what he won the presidency with in 2016, a number he called a historic landslide. Ironically, that is the exact number of electoral votes Joe Biden Jr. will win the presidency with when the college votes in December 14th. This same situation occurred in 2006, almost exactly. Yes, almost exactly, but not here in the United States. It occurred in Mexico, next door. Following the year 2000, the end of the 70-year-long political quasi-dictatorship and world-class corruption of the ruling political party, the Stalinist doppelganger, Partido Revolucionario Institucional, the PRI, was soundly beaten in 2006 by the popular Vicente Fox-led political party of the center-right, the Free Market PAN Party. In fact, the PRI ran a pathetic third, so pathetic it was beaten by the upstart leftist PRD, Partido Revolucionario Democrático, led by ultra-leftist Andrés Manuel López Obrador, nickname AMLO. The winner was Fox associate lawyer Felipe Calderón. He didn't win by much, 1.6% or so. He lost in poverty-smothered southern Mexico, in states where the Western Hemisphere's largest Indian population, indigenous population, lives, where the least educated, less prosperous, highly rural Mexico with high unemployment prevails. This is, and that was AMLO territory. In sharp contrast was Calderon territory in the economically boisterous central and northern Mexico, areas where free enterprise advocate Calderon won his winning margin from better-off Mexicans who are making Mexico's economy grow exponentially. Mexico is projected to have the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world in 20 years. Loser AMLO demanded a recount by the National Nonpartisan Federal Election Institute, IFE, now named the Instituto Nacional Electoral, INE. He wanted every vote cast to be counted again. The agency ordered a recount of 16,000 voting districts, precincts is what we call them, randomly selected with some from every state of Mexico. There are 31 states in Mexico and Mexico City, which is a federal district like Washington, D.C. The nation held its breath. Never in the modern history of Mexico had there been a real transparent challenge of voting results. Never a real recount witnessed by objective people. The votes were counted in the selected districts, and the vote result was projected to be essentially the same as on election day within a few votes. Calderon won. He was sworn in as President Felipe Calderon on December 1, 2006 to serve his 6-year term. In his inauguration speech, President Calderon declared war on the Mexican narcos who controlled much of rural Mexico. The war was waged by the army until Calderon was replaced by his successor, the PRI's Enrique Peña Nieto, who, his critics say, brought massive corruption back into the government, into the presidency itself. On December 1, 2006, while Calderon was being sworn in as president of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, AMLO, staged his own inauguration, complete with feverish crowds. He appointed officials of Mexico's true presidency. He demanded his supporters hit the streets for vote justice. He ordered his supporters to demonstrate in such numbers as to shut business down so the government could not collect its main source of revenue, the nation's direct consumer tax of 15% on all transactions. AMLO and his people cost Mexico billions of pesos in business and government revenue, maybe trillions. Maybe trillions. Weeks since the November 3rd election, and Donald Trump is acting exactly like AMLO did in 2006 by refusing to acknowledge he lost the election. He's suggesting he would never concede to Joe Biden. In demanding his supporters, he's also demanding that his supporters insist on recounts and elimination of millions of property cast legal votes that were counted but were, it is charged, products of a massive national conspiracy that literally changed Trump votes in machines to Biden votes by a foreign company using algorithms. That foreign company is headquartered in Denver. It was founded in Canada. That's a real foreign country. Yes. The latest claim by Trump attorneys Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell is that radical Venezuelan socialists, 2 Venezuelan refugees, developed a software used to count ballots in 28 states this last election. That software stole the election for Joe Biden Jr., say Giuliani and Powell. The lawyers have been massively covered by the American media and have, as of this moment, produced a scintilla of evidence to prove their claims. So far, Trump, like AMLO in 2006, has not admitted defeat, nor, we suspect, will he ever. What AMLO did is he organized a new political party and ran for president in 2018 for a 6-year term of president. He continued to harp that his 2006 election was stolen from him. His revenge? He was elected president at the head of his new party with 60% of the vote in 2018. Will Trump continue emulating President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador and come back from 2020's humiliating defeat in 2024 at the age of 78 to run for president again and win like AMLO? Is it really deja vu all over again, or is it the sky is falling? End of column. Is another Trump campaign in front of us? I don't think so. Too many 40 and 50-something Republicans running around the country, running states as governors or representing millions of people as U.S. senators. Does anyone think Ted Cruz doesn't want to run for president again? Of course he does. Isn't Nikki Haley running? How about Tom Cotton, senator from Arkansas? And they're all overshadowed by one man, Marco Rubio from Florida. Certainly, he doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in the U.S. Senate, even as he serves as Intelligence Committee chairman. A very important job. Maryland's Governor Larry Hogan publicly told President Trump, hiding at a golf course while Americans are going hungry and refusing to admit he lost to Joe Biden, quote, "Quit golfing and concede," unquote. Rookie Missouri Senator Josh Hawley wants to run for president. I don't know if he can make it. He's awfully short man. No short man has ever been elected president. VP Michael Pence wants to run for president, I assume, seeing as he's just now finishing 4 years as vice president. But think of this ticket. Marco Rubio and Nikki Haley. Is there a Democrat ticket that could beat this ticket in 2024? Back to President Trump. He just pardoned Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, USA, retired. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Why? Because if Flynn accepts the pardon, he admits for the third time that he was guilty of the felony of lying to federal agents. He pled guilty twice to that crime and then tried to weasel out of the admission by trying to withdraw the 2 pleas of guilty. Michael Flynn was and is guilty. The pardon doesn't wipe out his guilt. It only prevents him from being tried and convicted of his felonious behavior. Runoff in the state of Georgia. Yeah, that's a big item today, between now and January 5th. We have 2, count them, 2 United States senators that will be on the ballot. One to get reelected to a 6-year term, and the new one, Kathy Loeffler, to fill the Senate term of Senator Isaacson, who retired who resigned because of health reasons. On November 3rd, Republicans surprised everyone and reelected enough endangered Republicans to end the day with 50 senators, half of the 100-seat Senate. Democrats wound up with 48. So to keep the majority and the power that comes with the majority of the 100-seat Senate, Republicans only need to win 1 of the 2 up for vote on January 5. Only 1. However, 2 is better. The country will be better off, in my opinion, with Republican Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler winning the 2 seats. I don't think Joe Biden can hold off the ultra-left-wingers like Senators Barry Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and congresspeople like Alejandra Ocasio-Cortez and the squad. These people are colorful, but what they stand for is not a viable way to govern the United States of America. Trust me on that. If you want to tilt the country left so that it starts on continues on the path towards socialism that we started way back with Teddy Roosevelt, if you want to continue that, then you don't want the 2 senators from Georgia to win. I want them to win because I'd like to see America continue being the country that it is and has been, the country that took me in as a 3-year-old from Mexico and brought me up all these years to where I can sit here and tell you all about your own politics, my own politics. We can discuss it. We can discuss international affairs. We can campaign for people. We can contribute money for people. We can vote for people. We can do all that in a free society. that is the United States of America. If you want that to change, Biden can't change it by himself. He would have to be pushed. And if he had a Democrat Senate, he would get a lot of this done. But with Mitch McConnell in the Senate, with his majority, they can slow things down so that only the good things get passed by the Senate. Only the good things. So they may not pass very much. Congress may be sitting on its butt for the next 2 years. That's okay. A Congress that isn't real busy is probably more productive than a Congress that is real busy, passing bill after bill after bill, making laws that will come back to shove us left. I'm against that. I'm Raul Lowry Contreras. This is the political report of the Contreras Report, and I want to thank you for being there. If you want to subscribe to this, you will then be notified when a new one is posted. So, subscribe. And thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.